10 Powerful Truths About Life. In this audiobook, we dive into 10 powerful truths about life that have the potential to completely transform how you live, think, and grow. Whether you're facing challenges or seeking to improve your mindset, these timeless principles will guide you toward a more fulfilled and meaningful existence. Each truth will help you unlock new perspectives and empower you to navigate life's ups and downs with greater clarity and resilience. By the end of this audiobook, you'll be equipped with practical insights to embrace change, improve relationships, and build a life of purpose and success. 10 Focus Points. Change is constant. Understanding and embracing the inevitability of change. Time is irreplaceable. Valuing time and making the most of it. Failure is part of success. Viewing failure as a stepping stone to success. Happiness comes from within. Cultivating inner happiness over external validation. Your thoughts shape your reality. The power of positive thinking. Self-discipline is key to growth. Building discipline for long-term success. Health is wealth. Prioritizing physical and mental well-being. You can't control everything. Letting go of control over external circumstances. Relationships matter. Nurturing meaningful relationships for a happier life. Living with purpose brings fulfillment. Finding and living your life's purpose. Summary of what's inside. This audiobook breaks down 10 essential truths that everyone should know to lead a fulfilling life. You'll learn how to embrace the constant nature of change, how to make the most of your time, and why failure is a key part of any success story. We'll discuss the importance of finding happiness from within, harnessing the power of your thoughts, and mastering self-discipline. You'll also discover why health is your greatest asset, the value of letting go of things you can't control, and the central role of relationships. Finally, we'll explore how living with purpose can bring true fulfillment. What you will learn. How to accept and thrive in a world of constant change. Practical ways to make time work for you. Why failures are crucial steps toward success. How to cultivate inner happiness and peace. The impact of positive thinking on your life outcomes. Techniques to develop self-discipline and consistency. Why prioritizing health is key to overall success. How to release the need to control everything in life. The importance of fostering strong, meaningful relationships. How to find purpose in life and live with intention. Focus point 1. Change is constant. One of the most profound truths about life is that change is inevitable. No matter how much we may desire stability, life is constantly evolving. As the Greek philosopher Heraclitus once said, "The only constant in life is change." This insight has been echoed across centuries, reminding us that resisting change only leads to frustration and suffering, while embracing it opens doors to growth and new opportunities. Understanding change and its impact. Change can come in many forms: career shifts, personal growth, loss, or unexpected circumstances. It may feel unsettling at first, as humans are naturally inclined toward comfort and familiarity. However, our ability to adapt to change is crucial for personal development. Psychologist Carol Dweck's growth mindset theory highlights how individuals who view challenges as opportunities for learning and growth tend to thrive, while those with a fixed mindset struggle against the inevitable shifts in life. In the realm of biology, Charles Darwin famously stated, "It is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change." This concept holds true beyond nature. It applies to our personal and professional lives as well. The ability to adapt and pivot when circumstances change can often determine the trajectory of our success and happiness. The psychological response to change. Change triggers a psychological response that can range from excitement to anxiety. Psychologists refer to this as transition shock. This reaction is natural because change challenges our sense of security. However, by understanding the stages of transition, denial, resistance, exploration, and commitment, we can navigate through change more smoothly. Those who embrace the process, instead of resisting it, tend to experience less stress and are more likely to find opportunities in new situations. For instance, during times of global crisis or personal upheaval, we may initially resist or deny the reality of change. But over time, once we reach the exploration and commitment phases, we often discover new strengths, ideas, or pathways we hadn't considered before. People who successfully navigate change are those who remain open to the possibilities that arise from it. Proven experiments and theories. Numerous studies highlight the benefits of adaptability. One famous experiment, known as the Resilience Project, followed individuals who faced significant life changes, such as job loss or relocation. The research showed that those who adopted a flexible mindset were more likely to bounce back and find success in their new circumstances. These individuals tended to approach change as a chance to learn, rather than an obstacle to overcome. In the workplace, adaptability has been linked to greater job performance and satisfaction. A study conducted by the Harvard Business Review found that employees who embraced change reported higher levels of engagement, creativity, and collaboration. This adaptability allowed them to thrive in fast-paced and constantly evolving environments, contributing to both their personal success and the success of their organizations. Cultural and historical reflections on change. Throughout history, different cultures have celebrated the transformative power of change. In Eastern philosophy, particularly in Buddhism, the concept of impermanence is central to understanding life. The belief is that everything in life is transient, and by accepting this, we free ourselves from attachment and suffering. The Japanese concept of wabi-sabi embraces the beauty in impermanence and imperfection, suggesting that life's fleeting nature enhances its value. Recommendations: practice flexibility. Cultivate an adaptable mindset by being open to new experiences and perspectives. The more flexible you are in your thinking, the easier it will be to navigate change. Anticipate and prepare. Accept that change will come, and prepare for it mentally. Anticipating shifts, whether in your career or personal life, can make the transition smoother. Reflect and learn. After experiencing change, reflect on what you've learned from it. Each transition holds valuable lessons that can prepare you for the future. Build resilience. Strengthen your resilience by viewing challenges as growth opportunities. The more resilient you are, the more effectively you'll handle future changes. By understanding that change is a constant force in life and choosing to embrace it, you can turn uncertainty into an opportunity for growth and self-improvement. The more we accept and prepare for change, the more empowered we become in shaping our own journey. Focus point 2: time is irreplaceable. Time is the one resource we all possess equally, yet it's the most precious and irreplaceable asset in life. Every moment that passes is one we can never get back. This simple yet profound truth emphasizes the importance of using our time wisely, as how we spend our hours defines the quality and impact of our lives. The value of time. Time governs everything we do. While we can often replenish material resources or recover from setbacks, time once lost cannot be reclaimed. This reality brings an urgency to how we approach our daily lives. The 19th century philosopher Henry David Thoreau said, "It is not enough to be busy, so are the ants. The question is, what are we busy about?" His point underscores the need to spend our time on meaningful pursuits, not just mindless activity. In a world where distractions are abundant, we often fall into the trap of wasting time on trivial matters. Social media, entertainment, and idle habits can drain hours from our day without us even realizing it. The challenge lies in recognizing how precious time is and making deliberate choices about how to use it. The science behind time perception. Interestingly, research into how humans perceive time shows that our experience of time is fluid. In a well-known psychological experiment, researchers found that when individuals are fully engaged in meaningful activities, they often lose track of time, a phenomenon called flow. The psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, who coined the term, noted that when people are absorbed in activities they find fulfilling, time seems to fly by, and they report feeling more satisfied and accomplished. Conversely, time can feel stagnant or slow when we are disengaged, bored, or unmotivated. This perception is crucial because it means that how we spend our time affects not only how much we accomplish but also how we experience life. When we focus on meaningful tasks and purpose-driven goals, we make the most of our time. Proven experiments and theories. The concept of time management has been extensively studied, and one key theory is the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. It states that 80% of our results come from just 20% of our efforts. This principle highlights the importance of focusing on high-impact activities that bring the most value to our lives. By identifying and concentrating on the tasks that matter most, we can achieve more in less time. Another widely recognized approach is Stephen Covey's time management matrix, which divides tasks into 4 quadrants based on their urgency and importance. Covey urges people to prioritize tasks in the important but not urgent quadrant. These are the actions that lead to long-term success and fulfillment, but are often neglected in favor of short-term distractions. Historical and cultural reflections on time. Throughout history, many great minds have spoken about the fleeting nature of time. The Roman philosopher Seneca wrote in his essay on the shortness of life that life is not inherently short, but many people make it so by wasting their time on meaningless pursuits. He believed that life should be spent in pursuit of wisdom, self-reflection, and the cultivation of personal virtues. In modern times, the concept of time has become even more critical as technology accelerates the pace of life. Yet, this rapid advancement often leads to time mismanagement, leaving many people feeling overwhelmed and unproductive. By being mindful of how we use time, we can regain control over it and direct our energy toward meaningful and productive endeavors. Recommendations: prioritize meaningful activities. Identify the tasks that align with your long-term goals and values. Focus on these rather than getting caught up in unimportant distractions. Set boundaries. Protect your time by setting limits on activities or people that drain your energy and distract you from your purpose. Reflect on time spent. Regularly evaluate how you're spending your time. Are you using it to move toward your goals? Or is it being wasted on unproductive activities? Plan with purpose. Create a daily or weekly plan that focuses on high-impact tasks, ensuring that your time is used effectively. Embrace the present. Practice mindfulness to fully engage with the present moment. By doing so, you enhance your experience of time and make it more meaningful. The truth that time is irreplaceable serves as a powerful reminder to live intentionally. When we recognize the finite nature of our time, we gain a deeper appreciation for every moment, motivating us to use it in ways that align with our values, goals, and purpose. By doing so, we not only achieve more but also experience a richer, more fulfilling life. Focus point 3: failure is part of success. Failure is often perceived as something negative, something to be avoided at all costs. Yet, one of life's most important truths is that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a necessary part of it. In fact, many of the world's greatest achievements have come on the heels of numerous failures. Understanding this reality shifts the way we approach challenges and setbacks, transforming failure from a roadblock into a stepping stone toward progress. The role of failure in growth. Every time we fail, we learn something new. Failure teaches us what doesn't work, sharpens our abilities, and builds resilience. Thomas Edison, after thousands of unsuccessful attempts to create the light bulb, famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His ability to persist despite repeated failure led to one of the most groundbreaking inventions in history. What Edison understood, and what we must also realize, is that success is often the cumulative result of many small failures along the way. Psychologists describe this process of learning from failure as productive failure. This concept, pioneered by Manu Kapoor, suggests that failure encourages deeper learning because it forces individuals to actively engage with a problem, experiment with different approaches, and refine their thinking. In this sense, failure becomes a crucial part of the learning process, enhancing creativity, problem-solving, and critical thinking skills. Failure reframes success. Failure is not just a precursor to success. It redefines what success means. When we fail, we gain a better understanding of our strengths, limitations, and goals. We become more focused on what truly matters and more appreciative of the journey itself. In business and entrepreneurship, many successful leaders have endured repeated failures before finding their breakthrough. Steve Jobs, for example, was famously ousted from Apple, the company he co-founded. Yet, his failure during that period paved the way for one of the greatest comebacks in corporate history, ultimately leading to Apple's immense global success. By failing, we also learn to persevere. Grit, a concept popularized by psychologist Angela Duckworth, refers to the combination of passion and persistence in pursuing long-term goals. Duckworth's research shows that individuals with grit are more likely to achieve success because they view failure as a natural part of the journey. Instead of giving up when faced with setbacks, they persist, knowing that failure is not final. Scientific evidence supporting failure's role. Research has repeatedly shown that those who embrace failure as part of the process are more likely to succeed in the long run. In one study conducted by Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck, students were divided into two groups, one with a fixed mindset and the other with a growth mindset. Those with a fixed mindset believed their intelligence and abilities were static, and as a result, were more likely to avoid challenges for fear of failure. In contrast, the students with a growth mindset saw their abilities as flexible and improvable, allowing them to view failure as an opportunity to learn and grow. Dweck's research demonstrated that the growth mindset students performed better academically and were more resilient when faced with difficulties. Similarly, a study conducted at the University of California, Berkeley, found that people who reflected on their failures and used them as learning opportunities were more likely to succeed in their future endeavors. The researchers concluded that failure, when processed and understood, plays a vital role in long-term achievement. Failure as a cultural construct. In Western societies where success is often glorified and failure is stigmatized, many people develop a fear of failure that inhibits their willingness to take risks. However, other cultures recognize failure as a natural and valuable part of life. In Silicon Valley, for example, failure is almost a badge of honor among entrepreneurs, with many viewing it as a sign of having taken bold risks. The phrase fail fast, fail often encapsulates this ethos. Failure is not something to be feared, but embraced as part of the innovation process. Similarly, in Japan, the concept of kaizen or continuous improvement emphasizes the importance of small incremental changes, many of which will inevitably fail, on the path to success. This mindset encourages people to see failure as part of a larger process of improvement and growth. Recommendations: embrace failure as a learning tool. Don't fear failure. See it as an opportunity to learn and improve. The lessons learned from failure are often more valuable than immediate success. Develop a growth mindset. Cultivate a mindset that views abilities and intelligence as improvable. This will make you more resilient in the face of challenges and setbacks. Persevere through setbacks. Understand that success often requires persistence. Stay committed to your goals, even when failure occurs, and use each failure as a stepping stone toward progress. Reframe your definition of success. Success is not just the absence of failure, but the accumulation of lessons learned from past setbacks. Focus on long-term growth, not short-term wins. Take calculated risks. To achieve meaningful success, you must take risks, and sometimes that means failing. The willingness to take risks is often what separates successful people from those who remain in their comfort zones. By embracing failure as a natural and essential part of success, we empower ourselves to take risks, learn continuously, and ultimately achieve greater things. Failure becomes less of a threat and more of an opportunity, pushing us toward growth and lasting achievement. Focus point 4. Change is inevitable. Change is a constant in life. Everything, from our personal circumstances to the world around us, is in a state of perpetual evolution. Resisting change often leads to frustration and stagnation, while embracing it allows for growth, adaptation, and the potential for new opportunities. Recognizing the inevitability of change empowers us to navigate life's transitions more smoothly and with greater resilience. The nature of change. Life is dynamic. Just as seasons shift, economies fluctuate, and relationships evolve, so do our personal circumstances. One of the core truths of life is that nothing remains the same for long. Heraclitus, the ancient Greek philosopher, expressed this beautifully when he said, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he's not the same man." His words emphasize the idea that both we and our surroundings are in a constant state of flux. Many people resist change because it often brings uncertainty. We find comfort in routine and predictability, and disruptions to our familiar patterns can be unsettling. Yet, resisting change is futile, as change will happen regardless of our willingness to accept it. The key is not to avoid change but to learn how to adapt to it. Change as a catalyst for growth. Though change can be challenging, it often serves as a catalyst for personal and professional growth. When we face new circumstances, we are forced to step out of our comfort zones, acquire new skills, and broaden our perspectives. Consider how technological advancements have transformed the workplace. The shift from manual processes to automation has caused widespread disruption, but it has also created new industries, jobs, and ways of working. Those who adapted to these changes thrived, while those who resisted were left behind. In psychology, adaptive resilience is the ability to adjust to change and bounce back from challenges. Studies have shown that individuals who exhibit resilience in the face of change tend to experience less stress and greater well-being over time. This is because they see change not as a threat, but as an opportunity to learn and grow. People with high resilience view life's uncertainties as a natural part of the journey, and this mindset allows them to cope more effectively with difficult transitions. Theories on change and adaptation. One well-known theory that explores our relationship with change is Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's change curve. Originally developed to describe the stages of grief, it has since been applied to understanding how people process any major change. The curve starts with denial, where individuals resist or reject the change, often feeling a sense of shock. Then comes anger, as the reality of the change sets in, followed by bargaining, where people try to negotiate or find ways to avoid the change. Depression may follow, as individuals realize the change is unavoidable. Finally, the curve ends with acceptance, where people come to terms with the new reality and begin to move forward. Understanding this process helps explain why change can feel emotionally taxing. However, by acknowledging these stages, we can move through them more smoothly and reach the point of acceptance more quickly. Acceptance doesn't mean passively submitting to whatever happens, but rather acknowledging that change is a natural part of life and preparing ourselves to respond constructively. Proven experiments on change. Research conducted by neuroscientists has shown that the brain is wired to resist change because it prefers predictability. Routine allows our brains to conserve energy by relying on familiar patterns, but when change occurs, the brain must work harder to adapt. However, the brain's plasticity, its ability to form new connections, means that with practice we can become more adept at handling change. A study by Dr. Alia Crum, a psychologist at Stanford University, explored how our mindset toward change affects our ability to cope with it. Her research demonstrated that individuals who viewed change as an opportunity for growth experienced lower levels of stress and performed better in challenging situations than those who viewed change as a threat. This reinforces the idea that our attitude toward change is often more important than the change itself. Cultural reflections on change. Different cultures have distinct attitudes toward change. In some Eastern philosophies, change is viewed as an integral part of life. The concept of Wu Wei in Taoism, for instance, teaches that rather than fighting against the flow of life, we should align ourselves with it. This approach encourages a sense of harmony with the natural world and its inevitable transformations. Similarly, the Buddhist principle of impermanence reminds us that everything is in a state of constant change, and that clinging to stability is a source of suffering. By accepting this, individuals can find peace in the face of uncertainty. In contrast, many Western societies place a strong emphasis on control and stability. While innovation and progress are celebrated, personal change, such as career shifts, lifestyle alterations, or aging, is often met with anxiety. This cultural resistance can make change feel more daunting than it needs to be. However, by adopting a more fluid mindset, one that acknowledges change as a part of life's natural rhythm, we can mitigate fear and anxiety. Recommendations. Accept change as part of life. Understand that change is inevitable, and resisting it only leads to frustration. Embrace it as part of the natural flow of life. Develop resilience. Cultivate resilience by viewing change as an opportunity for growth and adaptation. The more you practice adapting to change, the better equipped you'll be to handle future transitions. Focus on what you can control. While you can't control external changes, you can control your response. Focus on maintaining a positive mindset and taking constructive action. Practice flexibility. Be open to new experiences and ideas. Flexibility allows you to adapt more easily to life's uncertainties. Seek opportunities in change. Look for the silver lining in every change. Often, new opportunities arise from situations that initially seem disruptive. Recognizing that change is inevitable allows us to face life's transitions with greater ease and confidence. Instead of fearing the unknown, we can embrace the possibilities it brings, knowing that each change offers a chance to learn, grow, and create a better version of ourselves. Focus point 5. Failure is a stepping stone to success. Failure is often seen as the antithesis of success, but in reality, it is one of the most powerful drivers toward it. The fear of failure can paralyze us, keeping us from trying new things or pursuing bold goals. However, those who view failure as a stepping stone rather than a setback tend to achieve greater success. By understanding failure as a natural and necessary part of growth, we can harness its lessons to propel ourselves forward. The role of failure in learning. Throughout history, some of the most successful people have encountered significant failures before achieving greatness. Thomas Edison famously conducted over 1,000 failed experiments before inventing the light bulb. When asked about his repeated failures, Edison remarked, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His mindset highlights an important truth. Failure is not an endpoint, but a part of the journey toward discovery and innovation. In learning, failure plays a crucial role because it provides feedback. Without failure, we would never know which strategies are ineffective, what gaps exist in our understanding, or how to improve. Psychologist Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset emphasizes that individuals who view challenges and failures as opportunities to learn and grow tend to achieve higher levels of success. By contrast, those with a fixed mindset, who see failure as a reflection of their inherent abilities, often avoid taking risks and limit their potential. Failure is a process of refinement. When we fail, we refine our approach. Each failure brings us closer to the right solution, allowing us to adjust, adapt, and improve. Entrepreneurs and innovators understand this concept well. They often refer to their early failures as pivots, moments when they shifted their strategies or perspectives to better align with their goals. Instead of giving up, they used their failures to make informed changes, ultimately leading to breakthroughs. Consider the example of Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. Blakely attributes much of her success to her willingness to fail. Growing up, her father would regularly ask her, "What did you fail at today?" This question reframed failure from something to be feared into something to be embraced as part of her personal development. Today, Blakely is one of the most successful female entrepreneurs in the world, largely because she allowed failure to guide her learning and growth. The science behind embracing failure. Neuroscientific research has shown that our brains are wired to learn from mistakes. When we fail, the brain experiences a brief spike in electrical activity, particularly in areas related to attention and decision-making. This neural response is a signal that we need to adjust our strategy. According to research by psychologist Jason Moser, people who demonstrate a positive attitude toward failure, those who believe they can learn from their mistakes, are more likely to engage in corrective actions and make better decisions in the future. This ability to learn from failure is also evident in the iterative learning process. In this approach, individuals or organizations continuously refine their methods based on feedback from each iteration, including failures. The idea is that by testing and adjusting, we gradually move closer to the optimal solution. Tech companies often use this strategy in product development, releasing beta versions, gathering user feedback, and making improvements based on the initial failures. Cultural and historical views on failure. Different cultures have varying attitudes toward failure. In many Eastern philosophies, failure is viewed as an integral part of mastery. The Japanese concept of kaizen encourages continuous improvement, with the understanding that small, incremental failures along the way are necessary for progress. In contrast, many Western cultures tend to stigmatize failure, viewing it as something to avoid or be ashamed of. This cultural resistance to failure can make it harder for individuals to take the necessary risks that lead to long-term success. However, even in Western history, failure has played a pivotal role in shaping great achievements. Abraham Lincoln, for example, lost several elections and faced personal and political setbacks throughout his life before ultimately becoming one of the most revered U.S. presidents. His perseverance in the face of failure is a testament to the idea that success often follows multiple failed attempts. The importance of resilience. One of the key traits that enables people to turn failure into success is resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity and continue pursuing one's goals despite setbacks. Research by Angela Duckworth on grit, a combination of passion and perseverance, demonstrates that resilience is a more accurate predictor of success than talent or intelligence. Those who persist, even in the face of repeated failure, are more likely to achieve their goals because they refuse to be deterred by temporary obstacles. In sports, resilience is often highlighted as a crucial factor in an athlete's success. Michael Jordan, widely considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time, once said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times, I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed." Jordan's ability to turn his failures into motivation underscores the power of resilience. Recommendations: reframe failure as learning. Instead of viewing failure as a setback, see it as a valuable learning opportunity that brings you closer to success. Cultivate a growth mindset. Embrace challenges and the possibility of failure as a necessary part of personal and professional growth. Persist despite setbacks. Understand that success often follows multiple failures. Keep moving forward and refining your approach. Develop resilience. Strengthen your ability to bounce back from failure by focusing on long-term goals and maintaining a positive outlook. Celebrate small failures. Use each failure as a stepping stone, recognizing that each one brings you closer to success. By embracing failure as a necessary part of the journey, we unlock its potential to teach, guide, and refine us. Rather than fearing failure, we should welcome it as a valuable ally in our quest for success, knowing that each misstep is a step closer to the ultimate goal. Focus point 6. Self-discipline leads to freedom. Self-discipline, often perceived as restrictive, paradoxically provides a pathway to true freedom. The ability to regulate one's actions, impulses, and desires is not about limiting personal choices, but about mastering oneself in order to live a more purposeful and fulfilling life. Through self-discipline, we gain control over our habits, achieve long-term goals, and ultimately enjoy greater freedom, mentally, emotionally, and physically. The power of consistent effort. Self-discipline enables us to make deliberate, intentional choices rather than being swayed by fleeting emotions or distractions. It is the difference between reacting impulsively and responding thoughtfully. Ancient philosophers understood the power of discipline. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus and Seneca, emphasized the value of self-mastery, teaching that by governing our desires and impulses, we free ourselves from external circumstances that might otherwise control us. In this way, self-discipline doesn't confine us but liberates us from the chaos of short-term urges. Modern psychology also underscores the significance of self-discipline. Research by Angela Duckworth, who coined the term grit, shows that perseverance and passion for long-term goals are crucial factors in achieving success. Grit is not about talent or natural ability, but about the sustained effort and self-discipline required to reach a goal. The most successful individuals are those who continue to work toward their objectives, even when progress is slow or obstacles arise. Delayed gratification and long-term success. A key aspect of self-discipline is the ability to delay gratification. This concept was famously explored in the Stanford marshmallow experiment, conducted by psychologist Walter Mischel in the 1960s. In the study, children were given a choice between eating one marshmallow immediately or waiting 15 minutes to receive 2 marshmallows. Those who were able to wait tended to achieve greater success later in life, including higher academic performance and better health outcomes. The ability to delay gratification, choosing long-term benefits over immediate pleasure, is a hallmark of self-discipline. Delaying gratification applies to all areas of life. Whether it's resisting the urge to spend money impulsively, staying focused on a challenging project, or maintaining a healthy lifestyle despite temptations, self-discipline enables us to prioritize long-term goals over short-term satisfaction. This, in turn, leads to greater freedom. Financial discipline, for example, provides the freedom of financial security. Physical discipline, such as maintaining a fitness routine, leads to the freedom of good health and mobility. The more we exercise control over our impulses, the more freedom we ultimately enjoy. Self-discipline in creative and professional pursuits. Creativity and discipline are often thought of as opposites, but they are deeply intertwined. In his book The War of Art, Stephen Pressfield argues that the biggest barrier to creativity is not a lack of inspiration but resistance, the internal force that keeps us from sitting down and doing the work. Discipline is the antidote to resistance. The most successful writers, artists, and musicians are those who adhere to a daily practice, showing up to create regardless of whether they feel inspired. By cultivating discipline, they free themselves to explore their creative potential without being held back by procrastination or self-doubt. In professional life, self-discipline is equally essential. It helps individuals meet deadlines, set and achieve career goals, and manage time effectively. Without discipline, it's easy to fall into the trap of doing what feels urgent rather than what is truly important. Leaders and high achievers often attribute their success to the disciplined habits they've built over time. These habits, once established, allow them to operate with greater efficiency and effectiveness, ultimately giving them more freedom to focus on strategic and innovative tasks. The relationship between self-discipline and willpower. Self-discipline is often thought of as synonymous with willpower, but they are not exactly the same. Willpower refers to the ability to resist short-term temptations in the moment, while self-discipline is the long-term habit of consistently choosing actions that align with one's values and goals. Willpower, like a muscle, can be exhausted if overused, but self-discipline, when cultivated as a habit, becomes a part of daily life and requires less conscious effort over time. Research on willpower by Roy Baumeister supports the idea that willpower is finite and can be depleted, a phenomenon known as ego depletion. However, individuals who build self-discipline into their routines through consistent habits tend to rely less on willpower. For instance, someone who regularly exercises self-discipline in maintaining a morning routine doesn't have to exert willpower every morning. It becomes an automatic behavior. In this way, self-discipline reduces the mental load required to make decisions, freeing up cognitive resources for other pursuits. Freedom from inner and outer constraints. Self-discipline also offers freedom from inner constraints such as anxiety, self-doubt, and emotional reactivity. When we practice discipline in our thoughts and behaviors, we become less susceptible to the whims of our emotions. Instead of being ruled by fear or impulsivity, we cultivate emotional resilience and mental clarity, which allow us to act in alignment with our values and long-term goals. This inner freedom is one of the greatest gifts of self-discipline. It empowers us to respond to life's challenges with equanimity and purpose. In sports, resilience is often highlighted as a crucial factor in an athlete's success. Michael Jordan, widely considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time, once said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times, I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed." Jordan's ability to turn his failures into motivation underscores the power of resilience. Recommendations. Reframe failure as learning. Instead of viewing failure as a setback, see it as a valuable learning opportunity that brings you closer to success. Cultivate a growth mindset. Embrace challenges and the possibility of failure as a necessary part of personal and professional growth. Persist despite setbacks. Understand that success often follows multiple failures. Keep moving forward and refining your approach. Develop resilience. Strengthen your ability to bounce back from failure by focusing on long-term goals and maintaining a positive outlook. Celebrate small failures. Use each failure as a stepping stone, recognizing that each one brings you closer to success. By embracing failure as a necessary part of the journey, we unlock its potential to teach, guide, and refine us. Rather than fearing failure, we should welcome it as a valuable ally in our quest for success, knowing that each misstep is a step closer to the ultimate goal. Focus point 6. Self-discipline leads to freedom. Self-discipline, often perceived as restrictive, paradoxically provides a pathway to true freedom. The ability to regulate one's actions, impulses, and desires is not about limiting personal choices, but about mastering oneself in order to live a more purposeful and fulfilling life. Through self-discipline, we gain control over our habits, achieve long-term goals, and ultimately enjoy greater freedom, mentally, emotionally, and physically. The power of consistent effort. Self-discipline enables us to make deliberate, intentional choices rather than being swayed by fleeting emotions or distractions. It is the difference between reacting impulsively and responding thoughtfully. Ancient philosophers understood the power of discipline. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus and Seneca, emphasized the value of self-mastery, teaching that by governing our desires and impulses, we free ourselves from external circumstances that might otherwise control us. In this way, self-discipline doesn't confine us but liberates us from the chaos of short-term urges. Modern psychology also underscores the significance of self-discipline. Research by Angela Duckworth, who coined the term grit, shows that perseverance and passion for long-term goals are crucial factors in achieving success. Grit is not about talent or natural ability, but about the sustained effort and self-discipline required to reach a goal. The most successful individuals are those who continue to work toward their objectives, even when progress is slow or obstacles arise. Delayed gratification and long-term success. A key aspect of self-discipline is the ability to delay gratification. This concept was famously explored in the Stanford marshmallow experiment, conducted by psychologist Walter Mischel in the 1960s. In the study, children were given a choice between eating one marshmallow immediately or waiting 15 minutes to receive 2 marshmallows. Those who were able to wait tended to achieve greater success later in life, including higher academic performance and better health outcomes. The ability to delay gratification, choosing long-term benefits over immediate pleasure, is a hallmark of self-discipline. Delaying gratification applies to all areas of life. Whether it's resisting the urge to spend money impulsively, staying focused on a challenging project, or maintaining a healthy lifestyle despite temptations, self-discipline enables us to prioritize long-term goals over short-term satisfaction. This, in turn, leads to greater freedom. Financial discipline, for example, provides the freedom of financial security. Physical discipline, such as maintaining a fitness routine, leads to the freedom of good health and mobility. The more we exercise control over our impulses, the more freedom we ultimately enjoy. Self-discipline in creative and professional pursuits. Creativity and discipline are often thought of as opposites, but they are deeply intertwined. In his book The War of Art, Stephen Pressfield argues that the biggest barrier to creativity is not a lack of inspiration but resistance, the internal force that keeps us from sitting down and doing the work. Discipline is the antidote to resistance. The most successful writers, artists, and musicians are those who adhere to a daily practice, showing up to create regardless of whether they feel inspired. By cultivating discipline, they free themselves to explore their creative potential without being held back by procrastination or self-doubt. In professional life, self-discipline is equally essential. It helps individuals meet deadlines, set and achieve career goals, and manage time effectively. Without discipline, it's easy to fall into the trap of doing what feels urgent rather than what is truly important. Leaders and high achievers often attribute their success to the disciplined habits they've built over time. These habits, once established, allow them to operate with greater efficiency and effectiveness, ultimately giving them more freedom to focus on strategic and innovative tasks. The relationship between self-discipline and willpower. Self-discipline is often thought of as synonymous with willpower, but they are not exactly the same. Willpower refers to the ability to resist short-term temptations in the moment, while self-discipline is the long-term habit of consistently choosing actions that align with one's values and goals. Willpower, like a muscle, can be exhausted if overused, but self-discipline, when cultivated as a habit, becomes a part of daily life and requires less conscious effort over time. Research on willpower by Roy Baumeister supports the idea that willpower is finite and can be depleted, a phenomenon known as ego depletion. However, individuals who build self-discipline into their routines through consistent habits tend to rely less on willpower. For instance, someone who regularly exercises self-discipline in maintaining a morning routine doesn't have to exert willpower every morning. It becomes an automatic behavior. In this way, self-discipline reduces the mental load required to make decisions, freeing up cognitive resources for other pursuits. Freedom from inner and outer constraints. Self-discipline also offers freedom from inner constraints such as anxiety, self-doubt, and emotional reactivity. When we practice discipline in our thoughts and behaviors, we become less susceptible to the whims of our emotions. Instead of being ruled by fear or impulsivity, we cultivate emotional resilience and mental clarity, which allow us to act in alignment with our values and long-term goals. This inner freedom is one of the greatest gifts of self-discipline. It empowers us to respond to life's challenges with equanimity and purpose. Recommendations. Embrace a growth mindset. Recognize that change offers opportunities for growth, and view challenges as chances to learn. Be open to feedback. Actively seek feedback and use it to improve your adaptability. Practice letting go of control. Understand that you cannot control everything. Focus on what you can influence. Cultivate curiosity. Stay curious and willing to learn, as adaptability thrives on an openness to new experiences and ideas. Seek out new experiences. Regularly challenge yourself by stepping outside your comfort zone, as this builds your capacity to adapt. Adaptability is more than just a survival skill. It's a mindset that allows individuals and organizations to thrive in an unpredictable world. By cultivating adaptability, we position ourselves to not only handle change, but to actively seek it out as a pathway to growth, innovation, and success. Focus point 8. The power of persistence and patience in achieving long-term success. Persistence and patience are two of the most powerful forces when it comes to achieving long-term success. They are the steady companions of any meaningful endeavor, serving as the driving force behind progress and the shield against discouragement. In a world that often demands instant results, the ability to persist through challenges and patiently work towards a goal separates those who succeed from those who give up too early. The principle of persistence is about staying the course, even when the road becomes difficult. It requires the ability to push through failures, setbacks, and moments of doubt. Thomas Edison, one of the greatest inventors in history, famously remarked, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His relentless persistence led to the invention of the light bulb, transforming the modern world. Edison's example highlights the importance of not giving up in the face of adversity. Success is rarely a straight line, and persistence ensures that even when progress seems slow or non-existent, efforts continue until the desired outcome is achieved. Patience complements persistence by teaching us to endure the wait for results. While persistence fuels the day-to-day efforts, patience keeps us grounded, reminding us that meaningful results often take time to manifest. In many cases, the most significant achievements require years of steady work and incremental progress. When we rush the process or expect immediate rewards, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Patience, on the other hand, allows us to stay committed for the long haul, understanding that success is not always visible in the short term but accumulates over time. The science of delayed gratification. The famous Stanford marshmallow experiment, conducted in the 1970s by psychologist Walter Mischel, provides a compelling illustration of the power of persistence and patience. In the study, children were given a choice. They could eat one marshmallow immediately or wait 15 minutes to receive 2 marshmallows. Follow-up studies showed that the children who were able to wait for the larger reward tended to perform better in various life outcomes, including academic success, health, and overall well-being. This experiment demonstrated that the ability to delay gratification, a key aspect of patience, is a critical factor in achieving long-term success. The principle of delayed gratification teaches that success often requires enduring short-term discomfort for the sake of long-term gain. Whether it's investing in education, building a business, or pursuing personal goals, the rewards usually come after a period of sustained effort. Those who lack patience are more likely to abandon their goals when immediate rewards aren't forthcoming, while those who practice delayed gratification can see the bigger picture and stay the course. The role of persistence in skill mastery. Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000-hour rule, popularized in his book Outliers, suggests that achieving mastery in any field requires approximately 10,000 hours of dedicated practice. This theory is based on research by psychologist Anders Ericsson, who studied the development of expertise in fields such as music, sports, and academics. Gladwell argued that persistence in the form of deliberate practice, focused, sustained, and challenging work, is the key to becoming world-class in any domain. Although the exact number of hours may vary depending on the individual and the field, the underlying message remains clear. Mastery requires a long-term commitment to practice and improvement. Talented individuals do not become experts overnight. They persist through years of honing their craft, often facing repeated failures and setbacks. Whether learning a musical instrument, becoming a skilled writer, or developing expertise in a profession, persistence is the common thread that connects initial efforts to eventual success. Patience in personal growth. Patience is equally essential in personal growth and self-improvement. Many people start a journey of self-development expecting quick transformations. They might set out to adopt a new habit, change a behavior, or develop a new skill, only to give up after a short period when progress seems slow. However, real change takes time. Whether it's building self-confidence, improving relationships, or cultivating mental resilience, personal growth is a gradual process. Patience teaches us that growth cannot be rushed. It allows us to accept that setbacks and plateaus are part of the process, not signs of failure. Rather than becoming frustrated with slow progress, patience encourages us to focus on consistent, small steps that eventually lead to meaningful change. Over time, these small steps compound into significant results, but only for those who have the patience to wait for them. Persistence in the face of failure. Failure is an inevitable part of any worthwhile endeavor, but persistence is what transforms failure into a stepping stone, rather than a dead end. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, faced multiple rejections from publishers before her work was finally accepted. Her persistence, despite repeated failures, led to one of the most successful book series in history. In her own words, "It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default." Failure, when met with persistence, becomes an opportunity for learning and growth. Each setback offers valuable lessons about what works and what doesn't, helping to refine strategies and improve approaches. Those who persist through failure eventually find success because they continue to evolve and adapt, while those who give up never realize their full potential. The balance between patience and persistence. While persistence drives consistent effort, patience tempers the need for immediate results. Together, they create a balanced approach to success. Persistence without patience can lead to burnout, as relentless effort without seeing progress may lead to frustration. On the other hand, patience without persistence can lead to complacency, as waiting without action results in stagnation. The key is to combine both. Persist in taking action towards your goals, but be patient with the pace of progress. Recommendations: set long-term goals. Keep the bigger picture in mind, and recognize that success takes time to achieve. Practice delayed gratification. Learn to forego immediate rewards in favor of long-term gains. Accept failure as part of the process. Use setbacks as learning experiences and remain committed to your goals. Cultivate resilience. Develop mental toughness by embracing persistence and patience, knowing that both are required for meaningful success. Focus on small, consistent efforts. Rather than seeking quick wins, prioritize steady progress, which eventually leads to significant achievements. The power of persistence and patience lies in their ability to help you stay committed to your goals, even when progress seems slow. By embracing these qualities, you build the foundation for long-term success, learning to navigate challenges, failures, and setbacks with resilience and optimism. Focus point 9. The influence of mindset on personal achievement. The concept of mindset plays a pivotal role in personal achievement, shaping how we approach challenges, perceive our abilities, and ultimately, how we achieve our goals. Mindset is more than just a collection of thoughts. It's a deeply ingrained belief system that influences our actions, reactions, and interactions with the world. The growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Carol Dweck's research on mindset, detailed in her book Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, distinguishes between two types of mindsets: fixed and growth. A fixed mindset is characterized by the belief that abilities and intelligence are static and unchangeable. Those with a fixed mindset often avoid challenges, give up easily, and view effort as fruitless if it doesn't lead to immediate success. In contrast, a growth mindset is rooted in the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, learning, and perseverance. Individuals with a growth mindset embrace challenges, persist through difficulties, and see effort as a path to mastery. They are more likely to take risks, learn from criticism, and ultimately achieve higher levels of success because they view setbacks as opportunities for growth, rather than as indicators of personal failure. Impact on achievement. The influence of mindset on achievement is profound. Research conducted by Dweck and her colleagues has shown that students with a growth mindset perform better academically than their peers with a fixed mindset. For instance, a study involving students in Chicago public schools demonstrated that those who were taught about the brain's ability to grow and change, a growth mindset, improved their math scores compared to those who received traditional instruction. This effect is attributed to the students' increased resilience, willingness to tackle challenging problems, and greater motivation to learn. A growth mindset also affects professional success. Entrepreneurs and leaders who adopt a growth mindset are more likely to innovate and persevere through business challenges. They approach problems with curiosity and a willingness to adapt, which drives continuous improvement and long-term success. Conversely, Those with a fixed mindset may struggle with changes and difficulties, as they perceive them as personal limitations rather than areas for development. The role of self-efficacy. Self-efficacy, a term coined by psychologist Albert Bandura, refers to an individual's belief in their ability to succeed in specific situations. High self-efficacy enhances motivation and persistence, while low self-efficacy can lead to avoidance of challenges and decreased effort. Bandura's research highlights that individuals with high self-efficacy are more likely to set challenging goals, put in the necessary effort, and persist through difficulties. Bandura's studies on self-efficacy demonstrate that this belief in one's capabilities can be influenced by various factors, including past successes, observational learning, and social persuasion. For example, someone who has previously succeeded in similar tasks is likely to approach new challenges with confidence, while someone who has faced repeated failures may develop a lower sense of self-efficacy. Mindset and health. Mindset also impacts physical and mental health. Research indicates that a positive mindset can contribute to better health outcomes, while negative mindsets may exacerbate health issues. For example, a study published in Health Psychology found that individuals with a positive outlook on aging had better physical functioning and lower levels of chronic disease compared to those with a more negative perspective on aging. Additionally, mindset affects stress management. People with a resilient mindset view stress as a challenge to be overcome rather than a threat, which leads to healthier responses to stress and better overall well-being. This approach can result in lower levels of cortisol, a hormone associated with stress, and a more robust immune system. Mindset and goal setting. The type of mindset influences how goals are set and pursued. Those with a growth mindset are more likely to set high, challenging goals and to view setbacks as part of the learning process. They are more inclined to break their goals into manageable steps, seek feedback, and adjust their strategies as needed. This iterative approach helps them stay on track and adapt to obstacles, increasing their chances of achieving their objectives. In contrast, individuals with a fixed mindset might set less ambitious goals, fearing failure or criticism. They may be less likely to persist in the face of difficulties, and more likely to abandon their goals if they encounter significant challenges. Understanding the impact of mindset on goal setting can help individuals adopt more effective strategies for achieving their aspirations. Cultivating a growth mindset. Cultivating a growth mindset involves shifting from a fixed perspective to one that embraces learning and development. Strategies to foster a growth mindset include embracing challenges. Actively seek out and tackle new challenges, viewing them as opportunities to grow rather than as threats to competence. Learning from feedback. Approach feedback as a tool for improvement, rather than as a critique of your abilities. Use constructive criticism to refine your skills and knowledge. Celebrating effort and persistence. Recognize and reward effort and persistence, both in yourself and others. This reinforces the idea that hard work and dedication lead to success. Adopting a lifelong learning attitude. Continuously seek out new learning opportunities and be open to acquiring new skills and knowledge throughout your life. Recommendations. Adopt a growth mindset. Believe in your ability to develop and improve through effort and learning. Set challenging goals. Aim high and view obstacles as opportunities for growth and learning. Embrace feedback. Use feedback as a tool for personal development, not as a measure of your worth. Celebrate progress. Recognize and reward your efforts and achievements, reinforcing the value of persistence. Commit to lifelong learning. Continuously seek to expand your skills and knowledge, maintaining a curiosity-driven approach to personal and professional development. Understanding and cultivating the right mindset can transform how you approach challenges, set goals, and achieve success. By fostering a growth mindset, you can enhance your ability to overcome obstacles, learn from experiences, and ultimately reach your full potential. Focus point 10. The role of emotional intelligence in achieving success. Emotional intelligence, EI, plays a critical role in personal and professional success. It encompasses the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions as well as the emotions of others. Unlike traditional notions of intelligence, which often focus on cognitive abilities, emotional intelligence emphasizes the importance of emotional awareness and interpersonal skills in achieving long-term success. Understanding emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is typically divided into 5 key components: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. These elements interact to shape how we perceive and respond to our emotions and those of others. Self-awareness involves recognizing one's own emotions and understanding how they affect thoughts and behavior. It is the foundation of emotional intelligence, enabling individuals to assess their strengths and weaknesses accurately and to remain grounded in their reactions. Self-regulation refers to the ability to manage one's emotions in a healthy way. It involves controlling impulsive feelings and behaviors, staying composed under pressure, and adapting to changing circumstances. Motivation within emotional intelligence pertains to the drive to pursue goals with energy and persistence. It includes a passion for achievement, optimism, and the resilience to overcome setbacks. Empathy is the capacity to understand and share the feelings of others. It involves recognizing emotional cues, responding appropriately, and fostering strong interpersonal relationships. Social skills encompass the ability to manage relationships effectively. This includes communication, conflict resolution, teamwork, and the ability to influence and inspire others. The impact of emotional intelligence on professional success. Research by Daniel Goleman, a leading expert in emotional intelligence, highlights its significance in the workplace. Goleman's book Emotional Intelligence: Why It Can Matter More Than IQ demonstrates that EI is a strong predictor of professional success, often surpassing the importance of traditional cognitive intelligence, IQ. Studies show that employees with high emotional intelligence tend to perform better in their roles, exhibit strong leadership qualities, and foster positive workplace environments. For instance, leaders who possess high emotional intelligence are more adept at managing teams, resolving conflicts, and motivating employees. They create an atmosphere of trust and collaboration, which enhances overall productivity and job satisfaction. Emotional intelligence and leadership effectiveness is closely linked to emotional intelligence. Leaders with high EI are skilled at navigating the complexities of human emotions and relationships. They can inspire and motivate their teams, handle crises with composure, and communicate effectively. A leader's ability to empathize with team members and understand their needs fosters a supportive and cohesive work environment. This empathetic approach helps in addressing concerns, recognizing achievements, and guiding team members through challenges. Moreover, leaders who can regulate their emotions and manage stress effectively are better equipped to make sound decisions under pressure. The connection between emotional intelligence and personal relationships. Emotional intelligence also plays a crucial role in personal relationships. High EI individuals are better at understanding and managing their own emotions, and are more adept at interpreting and responding to the emotions of others. This enhances communication, reduces conflicts, and strengthens bonds. For example, in romantic relationships, emotional intelligence contributes to healthier interactions and greater empathy. Partners who can navigate emotional dynamics with sensitivity and understanding are more likely to maintain fulfilling and resilient relationships. Similarly, in friendships and family relationships, EI facilitates better conflict resolution and deeper connections. The role of emotional intelligence in academic achievement. Emotional intelligence has been linked to academic success, particularly in how students manage stress, navigate social interactions, and stay motivated. Students with high EI are better at handling academic pressures, collaborating with peers, and persisting through challenges. They are also more likely to engage in proactive behaviors, such as seeking help when needed and setting realistic goals. Research by the Collaborative for Academic, Social and Emotional Learning (CASEL) supports the notion that social and emotional learning (SEL) programs enhance students' emotional intelligence, leading to improved academic performance and overall well-being. Schools that integrate EI training into their curricula observe reductions in behavioral problems and improvements in academic outcomes. Developing emotional intelligence. Cultivating emotional intelligence involves ongoing self-reflection and practice. Techniques to enhance EI include self-reflection. Regularly assess your emotional responses and consider how they influence your behavior and interactions. Journaling and mindfulness practices can aid in developing self-awareness. Active listening. Improve your empathy and social skills by actively listening to others, acknowledging their emotions, and responding thoughtfully. Stress management. Develop self-regulation by practicing stress management techniques such as meditation, deep breathing, and time management. Feedback seeking. Seek constructive feedback from others to gain insights into your emotional interactions and areas for improvement. Emotional regulation techniques. Learn strategies for managing intense emotions, such as cognitive restructuring and emotional distancing. Recommendations. Practice self-awareness. Regularly reflect on your emotions and their impact on your behavior. Enhance self-regulation. Develop techniques to manage stress and maintain composure in challenging situations. Foster empathy. Actively listen to others and strive to understand their perspectives and feelings. Improve social skills. Focus on effective communication and conflict resolution to build strong interpersonal relationships. Seek feedback. Use feedback to refine your emotional intelligence and improve your interactions with others. Emotional intelligence is a crucial component of success across various aspects of life. By understanding and developing your emotional intelligence, you can enhance your professional achievements, improve personal relationships, and foster a greater sense of well-being and resilience. In conclusion, we have explored 10 powerful truths that can significantly impact your life and success. Each focus point has provided insights and practical advice to help you harness your inner potential and navigate life's challenges with greater ease. 1. Embracing change and adaptability. Embracing change and developing adaptability are essential for thriving in today's fast-paced world. By viewing change as an opportunity rather than a threat, you can grow and innovate, turning potential obstacles into stepping stones for success. 2. The power of perseverance. Perseverance is crucial for overcoming challenges and achieving long-term goals. The ability to persist through difficulties and setbacks enables you to stay focused and motivated, leading to eventual success. 3. The importance of self-awareness. Self-awareness allows you to understand your strengths, weaknesses, and emotional triggers. This insight is key to personal growth and helps you make informed decisions and build stronger relationships. 4. The influence of mindset on personal achievement. A growth mindset can transform your approach to challenges and goals. By believing in your ability to develop through effort and learning, you can achieve greater success and resilience. 5. The role of emotional intelligence in achieving success. Emotional intelligence is vital for navigating personal and professional relationships. Understanding and managing emotions effectively enhances communication, leadership, and overall success. 6. The impact of positive thinking on well-being. Positive thinking influences your mental and physical health. Adopting an optimistic outlook helps you manage stress better and fosters a more fulfilling and productive life. 7. The significance of setting goals. Setting clear, achievable goals provides direction and motivation. By breaking goals into manageable steps and celebrating progress, you can stay focused and driven toward your aspirations. 8. The benefits of lifelong learning. Lifelong learning keeps you adaptable and competitive. Continuously seeking new knowledge and skills enhances your personal and professional growth, leading to ongoing success and satisfaction. 9. The role of emotional intelligence in achieving success. Emotional intelligence, encompassing self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, and social skills, plays a critical role in achieving personal and professional success. Developing these skills enhances your ability to connect with others and navigate challenges effectively. 10. The importance of resilience. Resilience enables you to bounce back from adversity and maintain your focus on long-term goals. Building resilience through self-care, support systems, and a positive mindset ensures you can handle life's ups and downs with confidence. As you reflect on these powerful truths, remember that integrating them into your daily life can lead to profound changes. Embrace adaptability, cultivate perseverance, enhance self-awareness, and develop emotional intelligence to unlock your full potential. Thank you for your support and for listening to this audiobook. If you found these insights valuable, please consider liking the audiobook and subscribing to our Media Deem YouTube channel. Your support helps us continue to create content that enriches your learning journey. Remember, listening is a key part of improving your English language skills. The more you listen, the better you will speak. Keep engaging with our content and continue your path to mastering English and achieving your goals.